Hello darlings, thanks for joining me. I'm back. Today I want to talk about kind of a situation, I guess, with a tarot reader that triggered my self-worth issues. I tagged her video in one of my videos last year, and she's been apparently, I don't know, seeing my videos ever since. She doesn't like them. She thinks I'm lying. She doesn't like the face either. That's okay. Yeah, so her slamming me indirectly by, addressing me by the astrological sign that she thinks I am, which is my ascendant sign, by the way, but that's neither here nor there. That was the only feedback I've ever gotten on these videos. So it actually helped. I mean, I really can't say that she was wrong in the things that she was saying. She did. I mean, it's obvious that, yeah, I came out and I just spewed a whole bunch of crap that was going on, okay, that I had dealt with. There was things that I wanted to say that I felt I couldn't. Somehow self-worth issues and silencing go hand in hand. And it's significant that she's a female. She did mention the way I talked about my mother. This is the second video that I'm kind of responding to what she said, because it triggered me hard. It hurt my feelings. I'd watch her readings for a long time, and I commented, and I was always like nice and friendly. She didn't like that shit. And yeah, on some level, because I have been in hermit mode for so long, I do, like, as much as I can sit here and say, like, yeah, I'm on my own and I don't mind being on my own, it would be nice to have people to talk to that are on the same level, right? That aren't going to sit here and tell me I'm fucking crazy. She pretty much told me I'm fucking crazy. Well, no, she just straight up said I was a liar. There's a difference between being crazy and being a liar. Crazy means you actually believe yourself, right? But being a liar is just being a liar. Whatever. So the other day when I mentioned that story where that girl was telling me that I wasn't shit, basically. She wasn't saying it directly either. Like, we were with her friends, and if I was like telling a story or something, she would kind of interject with these like, you're not shit interjections. And even her friends would be like, what do you, like, that's not even where the story was going. Like, what do you mean? So yeah, when we left, I tried to handle it really well and just like act like it didn't bother me that much. But on the way home, I'm like trying to ask her, like, what the hell, what the fuck, what was that? What was that about? And she denied the whole thing. She tried to act like that's not what she meant. And I got so pissed. I got so mad. And then that's when I had that flash of, because it was like talking to a brick wall, right? I'm trying to get her to hear me, and she's absolutely denying what I know is true. For some reason, lies and lying has been a humongous trigger for me. I think because I am intuitive and because I have a good heart, it's kind of a feeling of like, why would you do that to me? Why do you think I'm that stupid? I don't see it. So I was really, really frustrated. And then I had like that flash in my mind. It was just that impulsive thought, like, just bam, like, just get her out of here. Of course I didn't do it, okay? And then that's what I meant when I said things are slowed down in the physical. Like in spirit, your thoughts become things, right? The Bible says that God created the heavens and the earth with his word, his spoken word. So yeah, your thoughts, your intentions, they manifest into things. I want to say that in spirit it's instant, but like I said, the physical world slows things down so that you do have time to think, so that you do have time to process and respond versus reacting. And I guess I didn't give the whole story, but yeah, at that time, after I thought that, I scared crap out of myself, and I was like, you know what, let's just not talk. I just don't want to talk for the rest of the way home, because that's when it settled into that she's not going to hear me, and she's not going to have the balls to say, yeah, I think you're not shit. So yeah, it's something about women feeling the need to tear down other women in order to, I don't know, whatever, just tell other women that they're not worthy for whatever reason. You're too ugly, you talk too much, you're too giggly, you're too this, you're too that. And then there's like that silencing that happens too, where you get told who you are so much that eventually, yeah, you don't come out and say what you need to say or ask for what you need to ask for because you don't believe you deserve it. This is not a conscious thing. Like, this is all totally subconscious. That's why it's so hard to stop it. It's because it's not, it takes a lot to really look at what's going on beneath the surface. So I think some stuff I said definitely triggered her. Like I said, she pulled cards on me. She didn't do it right then and there, but she has my situation nailed down. Just, I think it has something to do with the sign that she's looking at or what, but she has the roles reversed, and she believes it because of what she sees on a physical level. She's like, wow, this girl is all beat up, and she's sitting here saying that she got clean off of drugs. She doesn't believe that I got clean. She does not believe that I got clean. And I mean, that's cool. Like, and she's talking about, oh, you have to worry if you talk too much. I'm not. If God's for me, then who's going to be against me? Really. I spent a lot of my life being afraid of DCF, right? Growing up as a child, thinking, oh, they're going to take you. Oh, they're going to take you. Being coached, you know, if they show up at the school, you say this and you don't say that. And then as an adult with my own kids, obviously I'm going to have that fear. Oh my God, they're going to take my kids. They're going to take my kids. And like I said, at one point, my kids were taken. And I got them back. They're here now, and they're healthy, and they're happy. Okay? And if their mother admits that, yeah, she had an issue, okay, or she has an issue still, well, it's actually, I think it's definitely a lot different, because the issue really was like overindulging, and then opiates is something that's hard to, you know, you get physically sick if you try to get off of it, right? You get like snatched up into this whole world that you didn't really want to be in. But when I became stable on the inside, which took some time and it took a lot of tears. Sorry, look at this cat. Oh my goodness. He's a cool cat. He is a cool cat. He's the reason I was covered in cat hair the other day. So So I guess I should say that, sorry, I keep losing my train of thought. I went through an ego death last year. That's what was going on there. My self-worth issues were triggered last year as well by this idea of, if this particular person thinks that I'm not shit, that I'm ugly, that I'm fat, that I'm this, that I'm that, then, you know, maybe they're right. Maybe I am too ugly for them. Maybe I am too whatever for them. And that got me in my feelings. Like, bad. I mean, mostly because I'd been duped. Like, for like the millionth time. And it's not because I'm stupid. When it comes to people that are like in bad relationships and stuff, anybody can say what they want from the outside, like, oh, it's because you're stupid or because you're weak. It's none of that, actually. It's because you were trained wrong on what love is. If the people growing up that say they love you neglect you and emotionally or physically or however else abuse you, then you're going to grow up thinking that's what a relationship is. Until you get into that relationship and you're like, oh my God, this is horrible, I need to get out. And then it was a bad relationship, and it was like a spiritual connection at the same time that really ate up a lot of my time and energy and any other type of resource in this world. So that's when I had to look at myself and say, it does not fucking matter whether you're cute enough or not. This person was cheating on you when you were 20 years old and had the body and the face of a 20-year-old who hadn't been beat to shit. And then if you I don't want to get too much more into that. So yeah, my self-worth issues were triggered. I know my mother has self-worth issues. And yeah, maybe I shouldn't have been so hard on her, but at the same time, yeah, maybe there's things that I said in those videos that may have offended people, or even if I didn't mean to. If you really look at it, when you get upset, when you get triggered, like, that's a chance to learn. That's a chance to go within and understand what's really going on. And I do believe that by becoming aware that you still have these issues, that's obviously the first step to fixing them, right? So she triggered me, I triggered her. She has, well, a lot of people have, even I did, you know, even I kind of still do, I guess I'm still working on that, an idea in her head of what a spiritual person looks like, right? And we all have that. We all have these prejudices that are deeper than just race or, I don't know, ability level, you know, like. So I should thank her. And I should say that I'll stay up for her videos. I mean, I'll still watch them, but she doesn't want to associate with me, that's fine. I know the videos and whatnot seem pretty crazy. I took a big risk by coming out with all that. Those are things that I'd held close to my chest for so long. Even with my issues of addiction, I was so ashamed because that was the one thing growing up. Hold on. That I told myself I wasn't going to be. I'm not going to be like that. I'm not going to be like my mother. When I was pregnant with my first daughter, I did bring this up. It was at my grandfather's sister's funeral. Okay, remember I said that she died when I was pregnant with my oldest, and then my grandfather died when I was pregnant with my little one. It was strange. But at this funeral is when I showed up and announced to my family that I was pregnant, and there was no man there with me. So my grandma kind of said, like, oh, your life is over, like, legit. And then my aunt, it's not my aunt that I lived with, it's a different one. She's very vocal, and she says, don't do what your mother did. And I started crying. I was 23 years old and pregnant and terrified because I had no idea how I was going to pull this off. And my family was not supportive at all. All I wanted was some support because I didn't have any. And that did not happen. So that was the point when I started to really separate from my family emotionally. Because, yeah, I'd never been that close with any of them to begin with. Like, I love them, don't get me wrong, but I didn't spend a lot of time with my family. So yeah, there's a lot of things that have not been said. And you have to think about that when you judge people, that you're only looking at them on one day of their life, or 1 hour or whatever. You don't know what they've been through. You don't know what God knows. And that's okay. It's a lesson in spiritual discernment. That's a big lesson that I had to go through. Getting used and abused however many times. It was because I was willing to put up with things. Well, it's not like these things were really on the surface either. It's that I had hunches about these things and no proof. And then finally I stopped needing the proof. When I realized that, yeah, I am psychic, and all this BS, all this craziness was like training for my psychic abilities. Even getting magic thrown at me. In the very beginning of my Kundalini, like right after my Kundalini awakened, I started to get like visited by like demons at night. Like I'd gone through sleep paralysis. I had an out-of-body experience where I was like lifted up in the air by something that was evil, okay? And I couldn't move, and I remember I had just learned, what is that called? The Lord's Prayer in rehab. Because I'd heard it a bunch of times, but I never recited it. So I didn't know it by heart. And when that demon, whatever, had me lifted up in the air, like I was able to see my body on the bed. I was able to see, it was actually, my sheets had the same print. I was able to see the print of my sheets. I was able to see that my lights were on. Like I had just fallen asleep, and then my body got carried up. Like I was in the air looking down at my body, and I couldn't move. I couldn't fight off whatever the thing was. And I remember saying the Lord's Prayer like so hard, like to get out of that thing's grips. That was like the first time that I had realized that, whoa, like there's some weird spiritual thing going on here. That was thrown at me spiritually. All of that shit that was thrown at me made me come into who I'm meant to be. It made me stronger. So yeah, if you want to throw your shade, whatever. I mean, I'd rather you didn't. I'd rather we come to, meet halfway on our differences, especially if we're on the same, I guess, team, right? If we're both trying to help people through their awakenings and their ascensions. I mean, maybe waking people up by triggering them is the best. If you think about it, when you're asleep, what happens more often? Do you just wake up gradually and peacefully, or does something wake you up, right? Whether it's your alarm clock or a loud noise or whatnot. Like, most of the time it's something that wakes you up. We got stuff to do. So yeah, if you have to get triggered into waking up, or if I have to get triggered into waking up, then that's the way it is. That's cool. It's the fastest and easiest way. I felt it clear in my soul when I had so much anxiety. I was so upset. I'm like, I was hurt. And then when I finally was like, yeah, it's a self-worth thing, and it's a thing with your mom, and it's a thing with women, something about women. They look at each other on the spot and just judge each other. You're not shit. You're not shit. It's not even professionals, even professional women. I've experienced it all over. Usually men don't. It's like, to women at least. I don't know how they are to each other. I don't think they're like that to each other. But if a man feels that he has a reason, then he will very much show you that you're not shit. But it's not on site. Like, women will do that shit on site. So yeah, that's what I'm working on. That's where I'm at. I don't want any problems. I don't want a YouTube cat fight. If everybody has to trigger each other into growing, that's not the most comfortable way, but growing is growing, I guess, right? I was also thinking about the sign of Cancer, right? She thinks I'm a Cancer. My ascendant sign is Cancer, so a lot of my personality does come out as a Cancer. Your sun sign is not always on the forefront, how you present to people. And I was thinking about this concept of Cancer, right, being a crab. I've thought about this before. I looked it up even. I guess Cancer is Latin actually for crab. And that's why we call like tumors, right? We call them Cancer. It's because a crab will regenerate its legs and like tumors regenerate. But what a crab also does, like the lobster that I mentioned, is take off its shell, right? Molts in order to grow. So I did look it up again, and apparently when like those crustaceans, right, crabs or lobsters, whichever, when they molt their shell, they're really vulnerable for, I think, a couple hours. I don't know, they kind of got to hang out under a rock until that shell like really hardens up. But you have to get vulnerable in order to grow, okay? Even if you got to hide under a rock while you're still getting your strength back. And that's what I did. And maybe I said too much. Maybe I should have edited. But that's the point, though, is that everybody edits their life. Everybody likes to put only their best face on every single day, okay? And then those demons or those skeletons in the closet or whatever, they get ignored and they don't get healed. So the question is, do we want to maintain the status quo or do we want change? If you want change, you have to do things that nobody else is willing to do. So yeah, like get vulnerable in public, take a huge risk and admit, like, yeah, I'm not perfect. I spent a long time trying to pretend that I was perfect, just being quiet instead of talking about my life because of how messy it really was. And I wasn't treated well. Wasn't treated well while I was doing that at all. So I'm like, why am I going to try to present as something that is my idea of what people approve of? Okay, I don't even know what these actually people really approve of or not. It's just the idea that I was put into my head growing up of what people expect of you. And here's another thing too. Is that when people go through traumatic things, we kind of don't give them enough leeway or whatever to be broken. Like, we just expect them. We're uncomfortable. We're uncomfortable when people are broken, when people are having a hard time. And we are so used to people being ingenuine and trying to gain sympathy. I just gotta say, there's a lot of things that I could have said if I was looking for sympathy. I played that card a long time ago. I played that card where the reason my life was a mess was because of everyone else. All right? I watched my mom play that card very well growing up. I actually believed, I know that both my parents were far from perfect. Okay, they both had their issues. But when I got into a relationship that was messy and volatile, all the craziness that I had seen between my two parents, and I sat in rehab after, I think when I went into rehab, it was something like 8 years into this crazy relationship. I really had to sit there. I couldn't blame my partner for me being in rehab. That just doesn't add up. And I think that's what it is that hurts me so bad when it comes to my mom. And what I saw growing up is like, I always was the first one on our team. I always held that hope. And she would say, we're working on getting you guys back. I always looked at her like, you can do so much better than this. What are you doing? And I don't mean she could do better than my father. I mean, she could do better than that. Her actions, like the stuff that she would get into. But at the same time, after living part of it myself, after realizing that, I was becoming my mother. And then after seeing her past lives too, I haven't gotten into that, but after looking into that life that she had in Salem and what she went through, and then seeing the way she came into this world and was kind of always the black sheep of the family, I'm like, there's got to be something there. Her soul has to remember being casted out by society. And I think on some level her soul is angry about that, because she is magical. She's absolutely magical. She is a really bright soul. In order to be fair, I do have to throw that in there, because I went in pretty hard on my mom. All right, but it's because I know she could do so much better. I'm like, just come on. Like, when is enough? And that's why I do believe that she is such a bright soul, is because it's like, even in the midst of so much darkness, like, she can still manage to be creative and come out with like beautiful artwork or whatnot, or make people laugh, or just be in a good mood. Like, my mom, she could throw a party in a paper bag. Like, she is one of the most fun people to be around. So I guess, in all fairness and respect, I do have to be appreciative of the relationships with my parents. Not necessarily the relationships with my parents, but my actual parents, and I am. Just because I haven't said it doesn't mean that I'm not, all right? I think that's pretty clear, actually, when I sit here and say that, yeah, all these crap things that happen to you, they don't happen to you, they happen for you. They're lessons, all right? And I'm very grateful for those lessons. And I'm even grateful for the tarot reader that fucking... I don't even know what to say. She wasn't even throwing shade. It was just straight like, you are not what you say you are. You're not worthy. You should hide in a hole because you're ugly. And you don't deserve to be special. You don't deserve to be the one with the cool past lives. You don't deserve that. That's what I got from that. And it really made me think back to like other times in history that women in general were told that they weren't good enough because of things that made them women, right? Like their sensitivity and their emotional depth and their compassion, like, oh, you're weak and you're too emotional, you're unstable. But like really, these are the things that make women who they are. Hey again. I just gotta say this before I close the video out. I don't know what it is today or lately. I've had a really hard time filming all day. This has been like an all-day thing now to make one video. I mean, yeah, my kids came home early from school and whatnot, but just to get a minute that I can, sit down. I do gotta be honest, is that I've tried to make it lighthearted. Because this change that I've been talking about, I don't even want to say what could happen. I know I mentioned it in the previous videos. It's to bring about a positive change in the world. This is not something of my doing. I gotta say that. I said it last time. When I started to get... After I filmed last year, I started to get more messages and more messages and more clear. All I have to say is it's scary, okay? I try to put a brave face on with this stuff, but this is not a fun job. Not all the time. I mean, there's a lot of benefits, yeah, I guess, to experience something new on Earth in this day and age, and to walk so closely with God and the angels and the spirit world. That means I walk really closely with the human world. I've been feeling a lot of anxiety the past couple days. I kind of thought it was just over like this beef with this girl, but she really, really went in on me on that reading, and I know she's been kind of mentioning things for a while. But I think that's a reflection of my own anxiety about what's coming. It's not like impending doom for the whole world, okay? This is a change in my life that I believe will affect the whole world. Just in the way of God showing that He's here and that He watches everything that we do. I almost don't know what else to say. I really don't know what else to say. besides just that I've been feeling sick in my stomach, and it seemed like a good thing. I was fasting for overnight, like not a crazy fast, like not for a week straight, but like nightly I would fast up until like, I don't know, 1 in the afternoon or something. And like it started to feel good, like to have my tummy empty and my messages were getting clearer. But now, like, I'm so anxious, I can't eat. Like, that's not like me. That's not normal for me. When I get upset, I gain weight. Normally, I'm like an emotional eater. I guess I do ramble. I know I am rambling. There's just like nothing I could say that, I don't know. It's kind of scary. I'm not afraid for my own physical safety. Ultimately, it's for good. And like I said, it's not. I'm just the messenger. The reason I think that the nun is feeling that anxiety is because she is a part of my soul family. Whether she likes me or not, or wants to associate with me, that's, her business. But yeah, when she says that celebrities come up in her readings, I absolutely believe her because they're her soul family. They're my soul family too. I don't know if it's all celebrities or what, but quite a few of them are earth angels. Quite a few regular people are earth angels as well. Like I said, I think it's even possible that we are all we are all definitely from the higher realms. I don't think anybody's soul started out as a human. But we're here, right, as humans. I don't know. I don't know where this is going to lead me in my journey. I just know that this is a stepping stone. But I do want to make it clear that I try to put on a brave face and not freak out because I need to, because I've always needed to. I do believe I'm strong enough to handle this whenever it happens. But I don't believe it's going to be easy. I never told the ending of that story with that girl. Not the nun, right? The girl that I was hanging out with and she was talking crazy to me. So a couple weeks after this event, or whatever, this situation, I had a dream. And in my dream, I don't know, me and her were in like this back of a box truck, which is really weird. It was like totally empty, but I don't know if we said anything to each other or what. All I remember is that I used like magic in my dream. Like it's not even magic, it's just things that I do in my dreams, like telekinesis and move things. Everybody like flies and stuff in their dreams, but this was different because it was that girl, right? I like lifted her up into the air, like without touching her, right? Like floating. And she was like spinning like a rotisserie chicken. That's the way I described it. I know it sounds weird, but that's what it looks like. And I don't do spells. Like, I don't know spells. I don't know if I have like some basic like Wicca books that say, ritual stuff, but I don't really do stuff like magic on people. But in that dream, everybody has seen the craft, and that spell, this is the only spell I knew, I guess. I don't know. Where she was binding, I think, what is her name? Sandy? The Bad Witch? Why can't I think of it right now? I think it was Sandy. She's like, I bind you. I bind you from doing harm to yourself or harm to others. Something like that, along those lines. That's what I was saying when this girl was twirling. And it was crazy because there was this big, thick white ribbon. She was naked, lifted in the air naked. And this white ribbon was wrapping around her. Like a big ribbon, like a clothing ribbon. So when I woke up, I realized that encounter with her was healing for both of us. But in that dream, I mean, without even thinking about it, I healed her. Like, I set out to heal her while binding her from hurting herself or other people, but the intention was a healing one. You can't oppress people. You can't hurt people. She had a nasty attitude at work and whatnot, so it wasn't just her incident with me. That's just the energy she carried. And me and her crossed paths. I think we even have probably a past life together. Oh, with the nun too. That's what I'm getting. That's what I'm getting at. That's why that story with that girl came up for me. There's actually a couple dancers that I think I've had past lives with, that they were like some kind of, I don't like to use the words sorceress and witch because they have such nasty connotations around them. But I don't know what other word to say. Like, manifester? I don't know. Magician? Why does magician sound so nice, but witch sounds horrible? Well, I guess warlock sounds bad too. I'm sorry, I know I am rambling. The point is that I think she and the nun are also somehow connected. Like, back in Egypt, we all knew each other. I don't know exactly how, but something magical. Because that's what we're all doing here, is something magical. And when I said before that people don't push for change, it's not that they don't try to change things. They do try really hard a lot of times in the physical, doing this and doing that. The last thing a lot of people do is sit down and go within, because it looks like you're not doing anything. I've done more in my meditations and healings than I ever have going to work. I just hope you guys can understand where I'm coming from and show me some compassion, because this isn't a joke and it's not easy. Thank you. Love you. Bye.